What's going on, everybody? Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I know that I have a mother. She's a wonderful woman. She's part of the reason I am the man that I am today. Thank you, Mama. I love you so much. And then also, to the other woman in my life, the most significant woman, my wife. She's the other mother, and I'm just so grateful to have her in my life. Thank you, Cassie. I love you. Alright, let's get this music turned down. What's going on, Ben? Happy Sunday. Happy Mother's Day. We're going to get a few things done today, but not too much because it's Mother's Day and I have things to do, responsibilities as a husband of a mother. So let's go to GitHub. Let's pull an issue. This is my artistic creation right here. It was originally going to be SpongeBob, but yeah, I think we need work as far as functionality goes. Particularly, I'm talking about the ability to remove pegs. We need some more shapes. And that's going to be the huge ones, I think. All right. Now let's see. I think this one's mostly done, but maybe not. So when we go to 100, it makes it that big. Let's see. Let's look at our circle function and see what size 100 means for us. So we take the size, we multiply it by 0.1, so divide it by 100, and then we multiply it by x max and divide it by 2. I think x max is the width of the thing, so the x max, the max number that x could be. It's not named the best, but we're just basically getting a radius that is equal to like less than the height of the thing, I think, or width, something like that. I think that's okay. I don't think we need to worry about percentage of what or pixels of what. I think that looks like a 100 circle, and that looks like a 1 circle. That looks like an 8. And you remember, they're locked in fixed positions, so they can't be perfect circles. There might be something, functionality we want to add. I don't know. But we have the circles here and the unit. I'm not so sure what it is. This is how we're calculating the radius. So if we're building a square, size will be fine. If we're building a rectangle or any kind of ellipse that's not a circle, then we're going to need 2 elements. We're going to need a length and a width. Now, I think we're going to go ahead and measure those in pixels, and then we're at the beginning, when we're building our UI, we're going to get the number of pixels that we can get in the length and the width. So anywhere we have dot size, we're going to do a dot length and a dot width, unless it's a circle. Now, if we can make our GUI have dynamic options, then that would be sweet, because then we could have some of the options hidden for circle, which is what we need. We only need one size parameter for circle, which represents some derivative of the radius. So let's see. We are initializing the GUI here. There's nothing about updating the GUI. And I don't have any kind of like IntelliSense, so it looks like I'm gonna have to go and look up this little GUI add-on here. So let's see if we can Google it. This is another basic example. Okay, this looks like the documentation for the object class that I'm using. Yeah, I'm not sure. Doesn't seem to be very straightforward, that's for sure. Well, the concept of a controller, I don't really understand right away. It's not something I really want to waste my time with. And there's a billion ways we can handle that. For now, I think what I'll do is I'll offer a length and a width. And it will be an ellipse. And the ellipse will have a length and a width, and that will become either a circle or not a circle, ellipse. And that's just how I'm going to do it. Size no longer has any meaning. For now, we'll do 1 to 100 on the length and the width. And I think that before the end of the day, we'll have it do between 1 and whatever is the maximum number of pixels in that particular dimension. So we'll be getting the count of the rows and the count of the columns. Matter of fact, I think that would work. Maybe. Doesn't seem to correspond though. Anyway, I will figure it out. We have the length and the width, but I think instead of that I want the CSS convention, which is going to be the width and the height. So we're going to have a width and a height, and that's clear what that means. Okay, we have no more references to dot size. I think that all comes in shape. So here in circle, we have a length and a width instead of a size. And I think that might change this function significantly. And hopefully Copilot is smart enough to know exactly what to do. So I was going through this mentally the other day. The properties that are in a ellipse. An ellipse is basically a circle, except it has a focal distance greater than 0. So what do I mean by that? In an ellipse, there are 2 center points, and they are a number of units far apart. And depending on how far apart they are, and then also the radius at either end, then you have the elongatedness of the ellipse. So, yeah. No, that's not it. The focal length is not the length. Or is it? I have to think about that for a second. If I'm making an ellipse, and essentially what I'm doing is compressing a circle. I don't think I have radius anymore. Radius is no longer just the length or the width. So I have to really think about that for a second. So if I have a length and a width, then yeah. And we are trying to draw that from a center point. And then I know that what we're going to have to do is take the length or the width and then cut it in half and then measure that distance away from. Yeah, so so it's going to be the selected options dot length divided by 2 times x coefficient. That looks right to me. And this is going to be the number that x is equal to when y is equal to 0, I think. So maybe that's actually the x-intercept. It's one of the x-intercepts. The x-intercept can be positive or minus this, relative to the midpoint. And it's not really the y-intercept. I forget what you call it whenever you have. I mean, it is an intercept, so yeah. But yeah. Anyway. Okay. This is wrong because this loop is done without integers, and that is wrong. That's always wrong. That always causes a lot of pain. I don't want that. Okay, it's not less than or equal to x-intercept. That is wrong. That is wrong. I think what we need to do from here is get the count. There's no size anymore, though. that could work. But I mean, I think that would be times if it was a filled circle. And even then it would not be, we'd need to multiply by another, there's another formula to get exactly that, the area of a circle. It's 2 pi r, or is that the circumference? Pi d, that's also 2 pi r. Pi r squared. Pi r squared is the area of a circle. Pi r squared. So if we have the x-intercept and the y-intercept, then somewhere the average of the two is going to be the area of the circle, or it's going to be the radius. Forgot to initialize these. Yeah, the average of the two is going to be the approximate radius, but it doesn't really have any meaning to us. It doesn't really have any meaning to us at all. At 0, we're going to start at the x-intercept. And at a quarter of the way through, we're going to end up at the y-intercept. I know that. Again, with the not integer based loops, that's terrible. But it's trig, so it might work. It might work. We could check and see if it's going to work. I'm not hopeful about that though. Let's just check though. Alright, here we go. The controls are not even, what's going on with that? GUI.add failed property with, yeah, we don't have that in our state object. That's what's going on there. So let's get that. Let's leave size just so it doesn't break anything. So width and height, actually. All right. Now we get the width and the height. But we're breaking the circle, so what's going on with the circle? Oh, we misspelled something. Alright. Try again. Let me fix this, because this looks a little ridiculous right here. Hold on. A little tiny sliver of the screen. All right, let's go. New pegs is not defined. All right. Forgot to define something. I mean, there just needs to be an array there. Easy enough. Filter undefined. What's going on with that? Draw shape. I think that's somewhere downstream. Let's see. Are we forgetting to return? Yes. Absolutely. We need to return it, otherwise it'll be undefined. No errors at this point, just nothing. What about the points? Do the points still work? No. Are they? Oh, okay. They do work. Cool. Does the preview work? What about the preview for the circle? No, that doesn't work either. With no errors, too. And I think that's because of the floating point numbers. They're dangerous. Math cannot, or I cannot plus equal math pi divided by 180. Cannot have a loop in radians. Assuming that's what that is. I failed trigonometry. Okay, you want 360 to be that? That's an integer array, sure. Or an integer loop. Let's see if that fixes it. No, it doesn't. Well, if I take this back to where it was working and I just use like length or width as the size, I think that would be a pretty good starting point. So I'll just take the length and we'll go from there. I still can't see it. And there's nothing in the console too, because I don't have a length. That's why it's called width. That might have been my problem the whole time. Silly as that is. Okay, we got something. It's small, but it's something. Happens when I change it to 1. Even smaller. Okay, cool. Give it the cheap thing. Just double it with height. Still pretty dinky, right? Because we're setting the count to that much. We need to be setting the radius to that much. And then when we do that, and we add the rainbow colors in, maybe it gets too big. Or it dies. What happened? What happened? I think it's too big. I think that this number right here, you see how it's multiplied by 0.01? That means when we add those two integers together, we got a number way too big. And then what's this? Oh, okay, yeah. Forgot to finish the rest of this. So, okay. I don't think that needs to be like that. There we go, see? Circles are back. As far as the elliptical thing goes, I don't know if my brain is equipped to handle that now. We got the height and the width. And, where's radius going? It's going into this trig function and this trig function here too. Cosine and the sine. of the radius of the, so those, okay, well that's X and Y right there. So I mean, how about instead of this radius, what we have is you know, length and width. And I want to multiply them by the same numbers as I was doing before with the size. Okay, I have a length and a width, and then the radius here we're going to sub out for the average of the two. I guess we don't really need to, actually. I'm just going to do I'll do length plus width. Or maybe just selected options, length and width. Yeah, whatever. Just to put something there, you know. All right, and then where we are passing in these two numbers, radius and radius, we're going to sub them out for X and Y respectively. The length and the width. It's not length though. I keep getting that right. One is the height and the other is the width. But Copilot got it right, so that's pretty sweet. So the width and the height. So let's sub those out. Cheers. Alright, so the width goes here, and the height goes here for Y. Let's see how that goes. I'm not sure. So what I had before was, this was the radius, like this. And we are multiplying that by x max divided by 2. That looks fine. This one is multiplying by x max and not dividing by 2. So that's, I mean, I don't think that's the problem. What I want to do is make sure that once I put this radius back, it's going to still give me the regular circle. Let me make sure, yeah. It's still going to give me the regular circle that I want. See, so there's something else wrong. What is it? What did I just change? Let's go back a little bit. See, okay, the count. The count was that one was changed here. I guess let's keep going back. 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 All right. So that's size. Let's just sub it out for length. Right. And run it. Or not length. Jeez, I keep getting it wrong. Width. Width is the word. Width. Okay, there we go. Got a nice big circle there. Looks great. I can never complain about that in a million years. Now, we need to take the length and the width and then multiply it the same way that we're multiplying that width right there. So it's not going to be radius anymore. I don't know, we'll call this new width. And then new height. A new height. And then this is going to have to be divided by 2. And I'm not sure what all that is. I'm not sure what... A second ago it was something else. Selected options, that width. Yeah, I like that. That's fine. Yeah, let's just do that. We'll just add them together to get the count. Like a perimeter. You know what I mean? But I guess it would be times 2 for the perimeter. So let's do that. Like if I had the length and the width of a rectangle, then the perimeter would be the length plus the width times 2. Anyway. Radius goes here and here. New width, new height. New width, new height. I didn't put that in the right place. New height there. There we go. I think that's it. New width, new height. Alright, it's doing something, as you can see. That looks like an ellipse to me. Let's put them both at 100. Needs work. Needs a lot of work. First of all, it needs more pegs. It's not even the right number of pegs. I think we want to use the selected options. Not times 10, I don't think. Because, I mean, it's going to be like hundreds at that point. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. So, that should be a circle, basically. That should absolutely be a circle. And yet, it's still an ellipse. So there's something I'm doing wrong for sure. Just for funsies, let me change these around. New height and new width. And crank it to 100. Okay, yeah, that's about what I expected, right? It's wrong in the same way in the other direction. This should be a circle, but at least it should be a circle in both ways. Okay. Okay. So it's too tall. For whatever reason, if we take the new height and divide it by 2, does it make it into a circle? What do we have to do to make this guy into a circle? You know what I mean? That looked like it had the opposite effect. Also, yeah, we kind of regressed a little bit. not the same number of pegs here. It's not length. I keep getting that wrong. Alright, so if I divide the height by 2, it squashes it. Okay, that does make sense. Okay, now that I'm using my brain, it does make sense. Yeah. So if we divide the width by 2, then we can expect it to get skinnier. Yeah. Exactly. Correct. 100%. Now, I'm looking at this angle step, which is 2 times math.pi divided by count. I'm not so sure about that. That's weird. Seems like that would need to incorporate the width and the height. And it seems like it would be variable. It would change based on where we are, what quadrant we are. So we have a circle that is of this width and this height. What we need to do is cut the height in half, and then that's where we start. Adding that number to the current y. So the current y plus this y, and then this y needs to be the top y. I don't think the angle step thing is right, so it's got this. That's doing it again. I don't know, that looks better. Except 100, 100 does not look good. Also, these are not fixed these are not fixed peg positions, unfortunately. I need this function right here. And then I also need add point, not add peg. All right. I mean, should they be the same trig function? Is that what? I don't think they should. I think that's going to give me like not a polygon, like a curve or something like that. A line, yeah, see? That's not right. height and the width of this circle. Meh. Let's just add another option right now for radius and figure out the dynamic thing later. I know there's a way to do it, just reading the documentation. I don't want to do it right now. Alright, so as far as the changes to this file go, I'm going to have to roll it back. And there, we can keep that, but we're just going to uncomment size and we're going to rename it to radius. Chalk it up to a knowledge error issue. Have to rename it there. Over here in shapes. Anywhere we have dot size, 2 places only when we name it to dot radius. And how did we do? I see the radius option. And we got the circle. Okay, perfect. Not perfect, but we can move forward. So right now, our unit that we're using is equal to 1/100th of half of our max. Not sure if that's correct. Let's try to change this to the coefficient like that. What happens when we do that? It's way too big. Why is it way too big? I don't know. It should be that number of pegs away. Maybe peg radius would be better suited. Yeah. That's definitely better. I like that way better. Using the peg radius. Okay, cool. So our unit of size, length, width, all of that is going to be measured in pegs. This will be 100 pegs tall, wide. This is a 100 peg circle. Hopefully that's clear, but I don't think it needs to be. I just think it needs to be consistent, and we need to have enough, you know, functionality to where somebody can. It doesn't matter if somebody makes a boo-boo. Rectangle is a good it's so annoying that it's doing that. Hold on a second. I'll let it do that for a second. Alright. I like how it's using add point. It's good. Alright, so our shapes array is up here. In theory, we can just add a rectangle to it, and we should be good to just have rectangles. Uh-oh. Some kind of issue. Hell, I'm gonna suspect that it's the rectangle one. Yep. You guys see it? I don't really see it. This is red, but I don't think it's there. It might be here. Yep, that was it. Alright, so we got rectangles. No, we don't have rectangles. And that would be because we are not returning the array. Let's do that. Oh man, I think we've added way too many pegs. Doesn't seem to be responsive right now. What went wrong? We could try a much smaller number on the interface and see. Open up that console first. Okay, yeah, look at that. It must have an infinite loop or something. The peg radius is infinitesimally small, and it should not be the iterator. The position plus X and plus Y. No, that's not right. It should be. So the height and the width of this thing, we need to get the similar multiplied by peg radius like this. Yeah, that's what we're doing wrong. And that's going to effectively be the width and the height that we're targeting. Now, here we need to be starting at 0 and going all the way to width. Just like that. And the position should be multiplied by peg radius. It says it's subtracted from half width. I'll take its word for it. Okay, almost. We only have one dimension. And that's because we haven't specified our width. Okay. That's a lot of pegs. Alright, we'll have to deal with the number of pegs that we're going to use. Can't be, they can't be completely filled like that, but I guess they could. Here, let's just do a smaller one for now. Now, it looks too tight to me. And I'm not sure if it's snapped in the right position, too. let's see. The circle, I think that, first of all, I want to make it to where it's not as filled, because that's crazy. So I guess we'll just prompt it by creating a count variable. And I'm going to make it width plus height. It's an interesting way of doing it. See how that looks. Forget to return? Yes, we did. I've seen this before. Yeah. How can we make the count equal to? I think times is good. Is a good one. The count doesn't come into play there at all. All right, let's try it though. Should be a solid one, right? Yeah, a solid rectangle. Seems like it should be not peg radius. Let's try to do x coefficient and y coefficient everywhere. Alright, let's try that instead. Should be more spaced out. Yeah, there we go. That looks way better. Let's make them rainbow. Ooh. Starting to get slow. Can't have that many. Crashed it. I'm gonna have to figure out how many is gonna crash it, because can't have people crashing it. What's next? Seems like it's not exactly snapping. Also, I'm wondering, should I use this const chords method here? Yeah, like that. Alright, how does that look? For what? Rectangle? Yeah. Oh. We don't have an X. I guess. Oh wait, so that's X and Y. What? Why would it do that? So, okay, alright, so I think it's getting confused. X is in the loop. I'm getting confused, by the way. And then the new position. It says it's not initialized. What? I mean, that works. It worked once. It's point. That worked once. It's weird. Alright, let's take it back. That worked. I don't like that though. I like that one better. Thought I did. So, new post not defined. Yeah, comment to this. There we go. That's the winner for now, as far as the rectangles go. To figure out how to optimize that. Make it nicer. For starter, that step is a little too big. It's got to be like half of that. It's the biggest rectangle we can do. Big one. Look at that. It breaks it. Nice to know that there's a breaking point. Oh, there it is. It works. All lit up with all the pegs, except for a few. Fill those in too. All the Lite-Brite pegs. And not so flattering frame rate. Okay. That's rectangles. Let's do some other stuff too. How about lines? Lines are going to be a little tricky because we're expecting to start a line and then end a line. You know what I mean? So we're affecting a couple of things. We're going to affect the previews, and we're going to affect the event listener, the click handler. But let's see. From our issues list. Did we solve the unit issue for this? Kinda. height is 100% of the height. I see that after imaging, by the way. I have a cure for that too. And then the width is, you know, the width of the thing, see? And, you know, that's a way to make lines too. Get some lines right there. And you want a vertical line? There's one right there. A couple of them. Rainbow lines. Pretty cool. I guess it's not 100% of the width. See that? We'll have to readdress this some other time. Fill and stroke on shapes. Yeah. Nah. Let's deal with the after imaging, since it's such a huge issue right now. It's a simple fix. It's very simple. Really, really, really simple. Hold on, I had this solved before. Now I'm gonna have it solved again. What we were doing is we were drawing it, and then we were doing the add shape at mouse position function, and then at the end of that function was where we were using the refire timeout, I think. Right there. See that? It's still there. But the problem is it doesn't return is dirty. I don't think that's the only problem though. I think it doesn't actually return the pegs to the main, so the state never gets back to it. See that? That's definitely not the right thing there. I don't know. It's kind of cool, but I think somebody's going to want to see that not go away. For the pegs to not get back to the main part of it. This is where they get back. Return, draw shape. But when we're in here and we're setting the timeout, I'm pretty sure we're going off on a different thread. And we're already past there by the time this is returning. So not much we can do outside of promises and stuff like that. And to be honest, I'm not that good with promises. I'm not going to promise anything about promises, if you know what I mean. Fun little rectangles. So fun, so playful. So the is filled versus not is filled. I'll try to try to take that one on. Alright, there it is on the GUI. Boo. And then on the shapes, we need to go to, I guess, circle first. And then we can just prompt it. And I had an idea for how we can do this circle. Here, first of all, we have to do if filled. What we'll do, no, I don't think that's gonna work. Yeah, well, radius is greater than 0. Radius minus equals peg radius. Do that. Okay, whatever. Peg radius. Oh, and it's just gonna call add circle again. Ooh, man. Doesn't seem to work. I think I didn't call it is filled, did I? Filled is what I call it. So is filled isn't gonna work. Ooh, I'm scared. It's still not working. If filled, wow, radius is greater than 0. Huh. It's supposed to step down on the radius and draw a circle within a circle until it gets to 0. Doesn't seem to be doing that, huh? Where is it getting this position value? Yeah, that's not gonna work. It's gonna be lazy, because don't do that. No. Yeah, no. I'm not gonna have that. Come on, let's go. Alright, let's try that. That didn't work either. Ooh, undefined. Yeah, undefined is not good. That would probably be the reason that, you know what I mean? Did we plug it in as is filled down here? No. didn't. We got filled and it's false. But there it's undefined. That's... undefined is not right. We got rainbow colors, we got filled, and there we were trying to alert filled and saying it was undefined. How could that be? Because it's not directly derived from state, that's why. We have to get it from selected options instead. And that will work. It's interesting. I kind of like it. But I'm not sure if it's a circle or not. The previews are gonna go crazy. But what would a filled circle be, you know, otherwise in this context? I think all I need is just more pegs on the outside and less on the inside. So where we got count here and it's equal to the radius, that's not gonna work the same. I'm gonna say let count. I mean, why do I even need that? That ain't right. Let's try that again. Well, that's, you know, a little bit better. But if I was expecting a circle, I would definitely expect less, more on the outside and less on the inside. You know what I mean? Maybe we could just bump this up. I'd expect to see it filled in more. Yeah, it's filled in more. It's making kind of a weird shape. Like pretty consistently. It's not a circle. Not quite a circle. That's pretty cool. It is a circle. It's just not filled consistently. It's not the right way to do it. The way that I've done it. think I need to sleep on it. I'm gonna go ahead and commit this because it is something, right? Like we got rectangles. The rectangles though are just filled, right? Let's see if we can incorporate the fill to make those not filled when they're not filled. Actually, I think I can get that in my head. And that looks pretty much like it, and it's going to continue. Yeah. Any number other than the last number and the first number when it's not filled. See? That's what we get. And then let's fill it up. The filled rectangles. Let's do the open circles. Good Lord, let's do the open circles. Now I'm going to drop that radius into the filled circles. There we go. That's good progress, I think. For a Sunday stream, impromptu, I think that'll do for now. Let's commit it. Yep, that's going to be it for today. Thought about going more, but that's going to be it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon. And don't forget to like and subscribe and follow on YouTube. Or wait.